Hey Frag fam, Corbin here again from Northwest Scent. Today I'm going to be bringing you a list of 7 sea salty aquatic fragrances. So these are fragrances that contain mineral notes, sea salt, oceanic notes, watery notes, just very refreshing and brisk. So perfect for the high heat, which is going to be coming up here real soon if it hasn't hit your destination already. So if you guys are interested in hearing about these, please stay tuned. But first, let's roll that intro. All right, welcome back. So before we get into the list of 7 fragrances, I just want to really quickly say that I was going to make a top 10 list out of this, but I wanted to make it about fragrances that really focus heavily on watery notes, on mineral notes, to the point where you can really detect those notes very prominently. So I removed a few that maybe feature a watery note, for example, or like sea salt, but they're not focused around that, if you know what I mean. So again, these are very heavy on these notes. And with that out of the way, we're gonna jump straight into the number 7 spot, which is from Dolce & Gabbana, and it's Light Blue Eau Intense. So this is a great fragrance, and I know it's very popular. And actually that is another disclaimer I wanted to say, was there is some predictable fragrances in this list. It's just kind of how it works with these types of videos, but there are some ones in here that you probably haven't seen talked about too much at the same time. So definitely stay tuned for those. As far as this fragrance goes, this of course is a flanker of the original Light Blue. This one, honestly, it has a more simple note breakdown. This has removed the incense and the rosewood from the original, and it's added amber wood, which is basically an aroma chemical similar to ambroxan, but it's supposed to be a little bit woodier. You see it used in a lot of fragrances nowadays, like this one, of course. You see it in Bleu de Chanel. So honestly, it's in a lot of blue fragrances, which makes sense because it is very appealing. This one also has seawater as that oceanic note. You get some juniper berry, there's grapefruit, and then mandarin orange at the top as well. So this is a very refreshing, crisp, slightly herbaceous fragrance, but the amberwood here and the sea notes really do shine. This has a saltiness to it, in the way that you can really almost like smell the ocean in this bottle. It doesn't obviously smell fishy or anything like that, but it has that kind of aquatic saltiness to it. The amberwood here adds a nice kind of modern woodiness to it, a little bit peppery in a way. And then of course that juniper berry adds kind of a gin and tonic kind of backbone to this. So a little bit crisp, and the grapefruit here is very dominant in my opinion. Much more so than the mandarin orange, to the point where this can be a little bit sharp off the top. So this isn't the type of fragrance where you're gonna spray it on and want to smell it immediately. It could be a little bit sharp, but once it's dried down a little bit, the sillage on this thing is phenomenal. It lasts a decent amount too. I get about 8-ish hours, and you get a nice little sillage trail with this fragrance. So a good performer for the summer, and very heavy on those oceanic and sea notes. So again, at the number 7 spot, that was Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Eau Intense. Next, at the number 6 spot, we have a fantastic cheap fragrance. This is great for just running errands out in the high heat. If you just want to spray something on real quick and go, and know you're not going to be offending anybody, this is the one to do it. It's from Nautica, and it is called Voyage N83. So yeah, this is great bang for your buck here. You can find these for under 20 bucks, just like the original Voyage. I 100% prefer this to the original Voyage. This is basically, and I always kind of describe it as this, if you take the original Nautica Voyage and you remove the green apple and then the leaf notes, or the green leaf notes from the top, replace that with some oceanic notes, petitgrain, and then mint, this is what you get here. So it's a lot more aquatic. You get kind of a spicy, herbal, refreshing touch to the top from that mint and then the petitgrain, and there's lavender in here as well, which gives a little bit of soapiness, backed by a little bit of cardamom to add a little bit more spice to it and make it just a little bit sweet. So this is like the more sexy, soapy version of Nautica Voyage, and it's more refreshing at the same time. I get just as good lasting power from this fragrance, about 6 hours, which is what I got with the original Voyage. And the sillage just backs it up as well. Equally good sillage, or I should say equally good in the amount of sillage, not the smell. Obviously the smell, like I said on this one, is a lot better to me than the original Voyage. So if you want something that is very aquatic, a little bit soapy, and just a little bit refreshing and spicy, a little bit sweet as well, This is a great one. Even though it's 20 bucks, I have no shame wearing this at all. You know, out of a lot of the niche that I have, I will still reach for this because it is a great standout fragrance. So again, at the number 6 spot, that was Nautica Voyage N83. At the number 5 spot, we have one of the most underrated flankers from this line. This one just gets crapped on. Nobody talks about it at all. And when people do talk about it, generally it's in more of a negative light rather than a positive. I think it is one of the best from this line. And honestly, the reason most people don't like it is just because they have not tried it. This is from the Giorgio Armani Acqua di Gio line, and it is absolute instinct. So this one is honestly, in my opinion, one of the best Acqua di Gio flankers for the high heat. And I know the entire line is based around aquatic, refreshing notes basically, but this one is ultra refreshing. You get some C notes here, backed up by a lot of citruses at the top, like lemon and bergamot. There's also seaweed in here, which makes it very unique. And then of course you get that amber wood, which we talked about earlier. So a modern aroma chemical. And there's a few other notes going on in this thing. Those are really what I pick out. And again, the unique note here is that seaweed. It gives it kind of a very salty but green aspect to it. Not fishy, and obviously I don't think it's a like natural seaweed note. It's some kind of aroma chemical or accord they made, but it does kind of give you a vibe of seaweed. And then you get those C notes. So very oceanic, very salty, and then you get that amberwood, which adds that nice modern woodiness to it. And a lot of those citruses at the top make it, you know, again, very refreshing. This one can be a little bit sharp from the initial spray. This is one that you definitely don't want to spray on and immediately, you know, stuff your nose down into your arm and smell, because you will burn your nose. It's just the nature of these really ultra aquatic, ultra refreshing fragrances. Spray it on, wait a minute, and then walk around. The sillage on this thing is crazy good. This thing smells fantastic. It lasts a decent amount of time too. And it's just one of the most underrated fragrances on this list right here. So you guys should definitely check this one out. And actually, I believe if you go to the Armani Beauty website, they are having a sale on this. I think if you put in Timeless as the promo code at checkout, it takes like 40% off. So you can get this for like 60 bucks, brand new. And it is discontinued, even though it is still on their website. At least I believe it is discontinued. So you do want to definitely try and grab this one while you can. So again, try and use that promo code TIMELESS at checkout on the Armani website. Obviously, I'm not going to get any money from that. I just found out about that and I thought I would share that with you guys. So again, at the number 5 spot, ultra underrated fragrance, Acqua di Gio Absolu Instinct. At the number 4 spot, we have one of those predictable fragrances I was talking about from earlier. Nonetheless, this thing catches a lot of hype for a reason. It smells really good, and it fits right into this particular list of fragrances perfectly. It's from Paco Rabanne, and it's Invictus Aqua. So this is the 2016 version right here, and I'm not saying you need to go get this one because you don't. This one is way overpriced. This is just the particular bottle that I have for this video. In this list, I am talking about the 2018 version. And as far as this fragrance goes, it focuses around the notes of grapefruit, C notes, and then amberwood. There is also some ambroxan in here. Well, they call it ambergris, but it really is just ambroxan. And then there is some violet in here as well, which gives it a nice sweetness. So this is more on the sweeter side, which is expected because this is from the Invictus line, which is a very sweet, bubblegummy, heavy kind of line of fragrances. This is honestly the more tame version of Invictus. This has the perfect amount of sweetness in my opinion. It's not cloying or just, you know, too much, but it's not, you know, just straight up citrus and aquatic notes either. This thing has a nice bit of sweetness to it, which is why I really enjoy it. So if you're looking for something that does have amberwood in it, giving you that modern but synthetic kind of woody note with some ambroxan, C notes, and then of course the violet giving it that nice sweetness, this thing is perfect. So again, at the number 4 spot, that was Invictus Aqua. Next, at the number 3 spot, we have a re-release from Tom Ford. This was a fragrance that was in, or I should say this is a fragrance that was in the private blend, but it got moved over to the signature line, which is a more affordable line of fragrances. As far as I can tell, the juice is the exact same. They've just repackaged it, and of course, like I said, made it more affordable. It's Costa Azzurra. So this is a really I don't want to say strange, but that kind of has a negative connotation to it. I'll just say unique. This is a very unique fragrance. There's a lot of notes in here. Honestly, too many for me to memorize, so I'm just gonna read off some of the prominent ones to you guys. Driftwood, oud, seaweed, cardamom, lemon, cypress, lavender, oak, incense, vanilla, and there's a lot more than that even. So those are just the main ones that I kind of get from it. And basically what this fragrance comes down to is it is woody, aquatic, very heavy on the seaweed again, so the kind of that green sea saltiness, and a little bit soapy and clean, backed up by a very, very small amount of sweetness from that vanilla. This kind of comes across like an old school barbershop kind of in a way. It's missing the oak moss, so you don't get that mossy feel that you normally get in a barbershop fragrance, but you can detect that lavender in the cardamom and the vanilla and such, so a little bit sweet, a little bit spicy, like I said, a little bit soapy, so it kind of gives you that barbershop feel, but this focuses more on the woody notes and then the seaweed. So it's like barbershop meets sweet spicy, which kind of meets a salty sea aquatic fragrance. It's really hard to describe. It honestly, it works though. Like, this is a great fragrance, as strange as that sounds, and it's unique. So this is a great, unique sea salty aquatic fragrance. Not one that a lot of people talk about. Hopefully more people will be able to access it now that it is in the signature line, because now you can get these 100 milliliter size bottles for much less than you could even get the 50 milliliter private blends. So way more affordable now. This is definitely one I recommend you guys check out. It's a more dressed up, formal, gentlemanly kind of sea salty aquatic fragrance. So that was Tom Ford's Costa Azzurra. At the number 2 spot, we have one of my go-tos for the warm weather. I've also talked about how I wear this to the gym quite a bit. It is very affordable, so that's part of the reason why I use it as a gym fragrance, but it is very high quality for the price, and this is just a perfect pick for this video. It's from Azzaro, and it's Azzaro Chrome Aqua. Oh my gosh, this smells so good. I'm actually gonna do some sprays because I just want to get that blast. Yeah guys, this is so refreshing. You get a lot of C notes. That's the most dominant note here, but you get some nice apple and citruses at the top, and I think it's grapefruit as the citrus note, which to me, grapefruit is really, really refreshing. I love grapefruit in my fragrances. You also do get some violet leaf, which isn't so much petrol-y here as it is just kind of airy. I've seen Dr. Fragrance, I believe, kind of quote violet leaf, to him at least, as coming across like a breeze of air kind of blowing through. And I kind of get that actually, that makes sense to me. It just kind of has this breezy effect to it. So I'm gonna quote Dr. Fragrance there, thank you very much. And then you also get some herbaceous notes here like mint and basil, providing a green, refreshing crispness to this fragrance. This is just ultra refreshing, definitely green. I do kind of get like a green vibe from this fragrance, but it is a very refreshing at the same time, a little bit sweet and a very little bit spicy as well. Honestly, this is one of those fragrances that almost feels icy when you spray it on. So I can wear this in the winter even, because it does kind of provide this nice icy cooling effect. But I think it is definitely more tailored for the warm weather, and it is very sea salty aquatic. So ultra refreshing, perfect for the high heat. Again, that was Azzaro Chrome Aqua. And finally, at the number 1 spot, we have a very underrated fragrance from this house. There is a similar fragrance to this one that gets a lot more love from this house, but of the two, and I've tried both of them, this one's definitely better, at least to me. It's from Creed, and it is Arolfa. Whew. Guys, this is great fragrance here. And the other fragrance I was referring to from the house was Millésime Imperial. Like I said, I used to own that. I do prefer Arolfa, honestly. This is more refreshing to me and a little bit more unique at this point. You don't see this thing get cloned quite as much. As far as what I get from this fragrance, honestly, as far as the note breakdown goes, I don't necessarily get what the note breakdown shows. So I don't think it's necessarily useful to bring up all the different notes and what I get. Personally, what this smells like to me is like a glass of refreshing iced limeade. So not lemonade, limeade. You do get a prominent lime note here, but it's not overly sweet. And you mix in that limeade with being on the ocean with a nice salty, refreshing, icy sea breeze kind of blowing across through the air. and then add a little bit of soapiness to that. And that's basically what you get here. So it's very sea salty aquatic, has a very prominent refreshing lime note, and you do get a little bit of soapiness from it. I think that soapiness is just coming from the florals in this fragrance. There isn't lavender, but there are a few floral notes that I can't quite remember. Ultra refreshing, very clean, very inoffensive. It is kind of fleeting, not the strongest fragrance in the world, but it smells extremely high quality. Honestly, probably the most high quality of anything on this list. So very photorealistic, salty sea aquatic fragrance here with a very nice lime note. So again, at the #1 spot, that was Creed's Erolfa. Well, there you go. Those are my top 7 salty sea aquatic fragrances for this upcoming spring and summer. Do you guys have any that you think I missed? Something that fits into this category that's very heavy on those oceanic notes, those sea notes, or those mineral notes? If you do, please let me know down in the comments. I'd definitely be interested to learn more about some other fragrances that could fit in here. If you guys enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate dropping a like just to show your support, and then that way more people can see my videos on YouTube. Additionally, if you want to write that comment or just let me know your thoughts as well, that would be great too. And since you're down there doing all that stuff, if you have not already, if you could hit the subscribe button and then the bell notification, that would be fantastic. That way you guys stay up to date on new videos whenever they get released going forward. But with all that out of the way, that's all I really have for you guys today. So I hope you have a good one. Stay healthy, stay wealthy, and smell great.